Need a light for the ideas. I'm in the splash zone with the brain wave.
I couldn't find the job I was looking for, and I kept going to different companies, and I got so pissed off that I had to start it on my own. I came up with Tyron Ash Real Estate. Took me ages to think of the name. Took me ages. You know, with anything you do, with any business, if you're not adding a solution, then you haven't got a business, because the solution's not there. People aren't going to see the value in it. What people are looking for is personal brand. Personal brand means you have got to be the direct connector between your audience and your product. Because I'm telling you, we sold a £7 million apartment through a TikTok video. £140,000 fee. You tell me that is not, that exposure doesn't bring you money.
That's just the hatred of your fire. Got chillin' no kind.
If your actions are not working towards the result you're trying to get, then you are wasting your fucking time. And if you're trying to work a full-time job and to build a business, let me tell you something, there's not enough hours in the day. There is not enough hours in the day, and you're gonna fail because you haven't made sacrifices. Cut the shit, concentrate on what you need to do, sacrifice everything that is negative. If that's a relationship, friendships, fast food, not exercising, whatever it might be that's costing you that route, stop looking for validation and just execute it as if your life fucking depends on it.
Let's kick it off. I'm extremely excited this is a live Knightley's Round Table podcast. I'm excited to have you on, Tyron. Also, for me as well, seeing your journey, I think I've followed you for, it's pushing on for 3 years, I'd say. So I've seen huge growth. I know that everyone else is aware of you. Almost need no introduction, but let's just get into it. Just that 20-second overview of really what is and who is Tyron Ash Real Estate.
Yeah, I think first of all, some tough acts for me to follow there. I think, really good, a lot of it resonated with me a lot, actually. Obviously, the social media talk just then, I could relate to a lot of it. Obviously Mark talking about, the scalability and organisation of the business, of your business, massively resonated with me. He lost me at Lamborghini. I wasn't interested after that. But for me, it's Tyron Ash Real Estate, to be honest, I fell into it because I'm someone who's so stubborn that I couldn't find the job I was looking for, and I kept going to different companies, and I got so pissed off that I had to start it on my own. That's what it literally was. It wasn't like a master plan. I didn't turn up here with 170 quid in my pocket. I was doing all right. I had I was a good agent. I was selling houses. I was earning a living. I was driving a nice Mercedes. I'd got myself to a pretty reasonable level. But of course, what's a reasonable level? That's the thing for me. And so I started. I was working for Fine & Country at the time. They're a good company, and I had some of the happiest years selling property there. But social media was the thing that I was watching $1 Million Listing at the time. I really loved that show. And when I was kind of doing, I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to market myself. I'm going to do these property tours. I'm going to engage an audience. I'm going to be Mr. Social Media for UK real estate. Well, Fine & Country didn't like that very much because, they sell by franchise. So you have to operate within a postcode. So that postcode meant that when someone in Chelsea wanted me to sell their house, I had to hand it over to a franchise owner in Chelsea. Well, that's not going to happen. So it just kind of hit an impasse. Then I tried a few other real estate companies who said, yeah, you can do what you want. If you want a pink board or a green board, no names mentioned, but we know who they are. They let agents run rampant. And that was all very good until I got into an office, and then even my own clients that I dealt with at multi-million-pound levels didn't believe in the brokerages that I was part of because they were just selling low-end stock, which is nothing wrong with it if that's what you're into, but as we all know, that's not what I'm into. So it didn't really work. So I kind of had to fall somewhere in the middle, and I came up with Tyron Ash Real Estate. Took me ages to think of the name. It took me ages. And the thing for me was that, it just, funny enough, actually, the reason I called it Tyron Ash Real Estate is not because it's my name. It is, but it's because when I was at a company, I won't say the name, but it was Keller Williams. And, the managing director, right, because I wanted to launch a little team in Milton Keynes where I grew up. And I just kind of, I knew the area, I could put a team there, no problem. And he said, with your criminal conviction, we can't have your name on Milton Keynes boards. So I thought, what better way to stick in than build a national company with my name on it? So that was what drove me to do it. But yeah, and here we are. But do you know what it is? It kind of, it got to a point where it was like, it started off as an idea, and then what happens is on paper, it all sounds very, very easy. And then what you find is internally, for you to scale something, which we're trying to do, which we're doing on a national level now, you realize that the internal mechanics of that have to be very, very sharp. They have to be very well oiled. And you have to run it efficiently. And I think the thing for me was, it's been a journey. It's been a weird journey. And obviously it's attracted a lot of attention, but it should, because it's shaking up what I think is a bullshit industry. It's an industry that bores the living shit out of me. It really does. I walk up the high street and I kind of see estate agents, and they're outside, they're smoking a fag out the front of the office, and he's in a cheap suit, and I just think, I was on holiday in America, and these fuckers had their faces on billboards selling houses, and this guy is like driving an Astra, and I thought nothing wrong with an Astra, but I'm just, how's it the same industry? How? It's ridiculous, but that's just, Britain's got a way of making everything shit, and so for me, I just had to be the person that had to change that. If I'm getting up and I'm going to sell houses every day, I've got to enjoy it. And then the people who are involved in our business, they've got to enjoy it. They've got to have a bit of fun with it. They've got to market themselves. They've got to get themselves out there. I don't want them to sit there and go, I've got to go into work today. I've got to sell houses. I've got to make this many phone calls before lunchtime. And if I book enough mortgage appointments, then I'm going to get a few £100. Like, the fuck's that shit? It's shit. It's rubbish.
Do you know, I don't know if anyone else relates to this, so I want to dive onto a couple of things that you said. Yeah. Most recently, I've just dealt with an individual who runs a company of around about 150 million. And when he first started that company, like you with the name, a lady who was working within that company, who was a director at the time, said there is no way you can scale, grow, or run this business. And then years later, he turned it over to 150 million. Yeah. So, and he said it was always what she said that I couldn't do. And the other thing is as well, is what I like what you've done is you do show a lot of actually who you are and Tyron sort of behind the business. You're not always in the suit, you're in the gym. And I like this whole, I think the industry, like you say, if you walk past an estate agent, everyone's very prim, proper.
I just don't get it.
And it's old school, isn't it?
I think the thing is that, I don't know, it's not to sound like cliche with things, but right, my biggest thing is I don't take life that seriously. I think that's actually what it is. Like, I always think to myself, if I go broke tomorrow, I don't give a shit, because I could literally knock doors and sell houses and turn £1 million on my own. Like, it's not hard. You just have to focus on something and do it, and not take it that seriously. And I think that, like, I've seen people get into punch ups over like £300 commission. Do you know what I mean? It's just crazy. Like, so we have a very distinct culture within the business that our battle is not with each other. We don't carve each other up. We don't turn each other over for £1,000 here and £1,000 there. Our battle is with the industry. Our battle is with a state agency. Our battle is the other agents. The fact that the industry is 40, 50 years behind other countries. That's the battle. The battle is not oh, he knocked the door that I was going to list or whatever, some bullshit. You know, there's thousands, millions of doors to go and speak to, like homeowners to speak to and houses to sell. And I think that's the thing, is that when you have an abundance mentality, I believe that money will come to me. I believe that success will come to me. I don't stress myself out about it. I get up in the morning and I just do it. I don't get up, there's no option. I don't sit there and say like, oh, maybe I'll work today. I get on the fucking phone and I make something happen, because I do it on the gym, I do it on the treadmill, I do it wherever. But the reason I do it is not because I'm working in telesales and that's what they're telling me what to do. I do it because it's ingrained in my personality now. I was on holiday for 7 days, and by day 5, I needed to do something, because that's just who I am. I'm not here, you know, what the fuck do I need a holiday for? Like, you know, I'm not old, I'm healthy, you know. Some holidays okay, but like, you know, it's just...
It's in you, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't always need a magnet. Like, do you know what? I've been to many sales events. I've been to many, you know, of these kind of things. I've been to Tony Robbins. I've been to Grant. I've been to everything. And do you know what? There's a lot that resonates with a lot of what you've got to do. But you don't all need a rags to riches story. There are some people who've had a good upbringing. Do you know what? There's people who've got trust funds bigger than businesses that we could build. But do you know what? They don't have any significance or validation because they've never worked for the money. That's just as painful as someone who hasn't got shit. Do you know what I mean? Because you're living off daddy's trust fund. So it's like, I've had arguments with people on LinkedIn, and you know, they'll wind up and you can see their trust fund babies. And I'll just wind them up and say, you're just annoyed because daddy hasn't sent you money this month and blah, blah, blah. And I just wind them up. And it's because I know it hurts them. You know, I can do this all day. Like, you know, I could do it all day, like, because I don't get offended. So, you know, it's just about the fact that you've got to want to do something. You've got to, you know, you've got to ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why am I doing this? I could go and list and sell houses. I could go and make money. I can go and get what I need to do. You know, it's good for a while, but then the thing for me was that, like, why can't I, if I know all this, if it's all in my head, and I know the process from how to prospect, how to get somebody who's got a £3 million house that's been on for 6 months to understand very quickly that I'm the solution to their problem, and they need to list with me, and then they're going to pay me £2,000 up front for marketing. They're going to pay me 2.5% when the other agent charges 1%. And then they're going to let me run an open house sole agency, and I'm going to get the house sold, and then we're going to do it in a record time. When I explain that strategy to someone who has been on the market for 12 months, that is me explaining a solution to a problem. When I'm going in and I'm saying, I'm going to do the same as the Wally before with the same shit pictures at the same price, and I'm going to try and undercut you on the fee. What the fuck's the point in that process? There's no, just stay with this first shit agent and stay on for another 6 months. Like, it's, you know, with anything you do, with any business, if you're not adding a solution, then you haven't got a business, because the solution's not there. People aren't going to see the value in it. It's like, I love getting sold to. I love getting sold to. It's actually, I'm dangerous when I walk into a shop, because I try not to make eye contact with but I sort of look at them like, you know, and I'm like, oh, I bet this Gucci shirt will look good on me, won't it? And you know, when they come over and they're just like, oh, you know, this will look good. I'm like, oh yeah, it would, wouldn't it? Like, you know, and you listen to them, and then they sell you the benefit of, and we've all been there, where you kind of walk in for something and then you walk out and you've spent double or triple, and it's because everyone enjoys the process of being sold to. But there's a connotation in Britain, for me, there's an interpretation of selling that's negative. So when I think Mark was saying about, oh, companies that have sales forces and all this, in Britain it's ingrained in us that you shouldn't have to ask for the business. You shouldn't, you know, it should all be done under the table. Oh, it's a £10 million deal. Let's do it off. If I hear one more person say off fucking market about a property, what a load of shit that is. What a load of rubbish. Like, unless you're selling to the Prince of Saudi Arabia or someone else, like, get it on the market, get it everywhere, and make sure that, because I'm telling you, we sold a £7 million apartment through a TikTok video, £140,000 fee. You tell me that is not, that exposure doesn't bring you money. I wouldn't have got that if I'd have tried to sell it off market through LinkedIn. Get a fucking grip. I don't know one person who's done one of those sales. It's ridiculous. I know you've all been involved in them. Like, it's just ridiculous. So like, what I'm saying is, you know, you've got to, like, but you go to America, you go to Australia, selling is ingrained in them. You should be sold to. You walk into a shop, they're trying to sell you the perfume. They're trying to sell you the product. It's a good process. So you kind of have to, with our sort of culture in the business, you've got to love to sell that solution, because that solution is going to help them. But it's your job, as in any business, to explain that solution extremely clearly so they understand that it's not you selling to them in a negative way, it's you getting them to the end destination. So the end destination is, for us, is they sell their luxury home for maximum value. And if I just go from point A, which is, hi, how you doing, to point Z, which is, give me my commission, there's a bit of a problem. But if I explain through each process that there needs to be an investment from them here, there's a fee that they pay there, and in return for that investment and that process, I, as the expert, will get them the end result, then that is the solution I'm selling, and that's when they trust you to do business. There's a reason we're growing at the rate we're going. It's not because I'm good on social media. That got me the attention. If I was good on social media and got loads of the attention, but I was shit at selling houses, we wouldn't be sat here. Because when Channel 4 come knocking for the show and they ask to see our books, I go, yeah, we've got 300 listings and no sales. You know, you've got to have the substance to do that, if that makes sense. And that's got to carry out with every business that you do.
I want to touch on something to open. We spoke about this briefly on the phone, is like high commissions. So a lot of people I think they don't believe it because they don't know, they've not felt it, they've not touched it. But something that me and Tyron talked about was high commissions, and there really is the realism and the reality behind earning some serious big money that you know, someone would go and work a full-time job, but if you've got high-paying clients, you have high-paying clients, I have high-paying clients. And you can seriously, if you build your network up, and that's why we put on events like this. Like you said, you wanted to stand out from the crowd. We didn't want to be, I said it to someone earlier, we don't want to be curtains and carpets at an event. We want to put on events like this where people go, oh, actually, I could do it. And if you can build a network, like meet people and be open to opportunities, and you can meet people who are turning over 14, 15, 30, 50, 60 million, and you can work with them, your earning power is a portion of that money. And like you say, you're charging 2%. I charge 2% for a family office, and a family office will buy a building for 4 or 5 million. You do the math. That's gross. You've got to take off your taxes or your circumstances. But like, it's reality. If you build a big net, if you're surrounded by 10 people who have £10,000 to invest, you can earn a small portion. If you have 10 people around you that are 10 million in the bank, liquid cash rich, you can earn a portion of like 100 million. It's as simple as that.
I think it kind of boils a lot down to sort of, for me, it wasn't like, again, some of these like relationships, some of this kind of networking side of things, I sort of fell into because it just naturally, I sniffed it out through just trying to get ahead. And then it was like, okay, well, I keep trying to sell 200 grand houses and they keep trying to knock me down to £2,000 to sell the house. And that means that if I'm taking 50 or 40%, that means I earn 800 quid. So I was like, the maths just weren't adding up. And I'm like, well, if we sell a £2 million house and we charge them 50 or 60,000 pounds, that means that we're earning £30,000 net commission for selling one house. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize which one you should become a fucking expert at. It's just, you know, it's economics, but people are afraid of asking for money. I'll come right out and say it. People are afraid of asking for money. There is no comfort and there's no pride in poverty. There's no pride in asking for the lower amount. There's no pride in it. You haven't done yourself or anyone else any favors. But also, you can't go and just ask people for a load of money if you haven't got something to offer. Reverses back into the self-development and mastery route. So I'm a big believer that don't try and be a jack of all trades. That's the other thing. Do you know the one problem with some of these property networking events? I'm sorry, but I have to say it, is that unfortunately, some people have been on one too many courses and they don't pick their field. So what they'll do is they'll be like, right, today I'm doing rent to rent, then I'm doing buy to let, then I'm going to be a real estate agent, then I'll be an estate agent, then I'm going to do land investment. And then what happens is you end up running around like a blue ass fly trying to package deals and do rent to rents. And before you know it, you've got no further forward than when you started. What you need to do is pick what you want to be good at and then be the best at it. Because when you are a master at something, that is when you earn big money. Because you don't pay people big money who are okay at things. You pay an expert for their expertise. So when I charge someone 2.5%, which is 150% more than an average estate agent, I don't just go in there balls to the wall and give it a Tyron Ash chat. I go in there and there's actually a structured process of, you know, a structured process of how it's going to deliver the best result for them. And actually that extra 20, 30,000 pound they have to pay us in a fee, they get another 10, 15% more on the price they get anyway. Because as they say in this world, you get what you pay for. You know, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And if you keep trying to be a jack of all trades, you're going to forever be a monkey of one of those trades. If you become an expert in something, then eventually one day when you swing the bat, you're going to fucking knock the ball out the park because you're really, really good at it. There's, you know, you don't see Cristiano Ronaldo suddenly going, oh, I might try basketball today. It doesn't happen. He just constantly does what he's good at and becomes the best at it. Well, if it works in sports, if every single person we've ever idolised in any field, think about it. Was it Thomas Edison that invented the light bulb? Yeah. We didn't think, oh, I'll try central heating today. He was like, you know, he carried on with the light. He carried on. Like, we said it in one of our training sessions. Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, right, who's obviously one of the most successful basketball players of all time, actually holds the record in the NBA for the most missed shots in the NBA ever. The most missed, which means he would have tried more times than anyone, plus would have then hit all the shots he hit to set the records and do what he did to get to where he'd gone. Now, if he kept missing those shots and then just thought, oh, I'll give baseball a go tomorrow, you know, we would never have heard of him.
You lose credibility as well. Like, you massively lose. One thing I would say, I had a chat with someone, I think I actually spoke to someone in the room about it, they asked my opinion on it, is that if you flitter and change things, like what I would say, don't talk to people about deals. Like if you're a deal sourcer or anything, and I mean, it's not a property event anyway, but if you are doing deals, don't tell people about your deals because there's nothing more embarrassing and to lose credibility, to turn around 3 months later and be like, oh, how did those deals go? And they go, oh yeah, none of them went through. Because if you talk about it, you almost bring bad karma. And then if you're pitching a business to anyone, when people approach me and they say, I need to raise X amount of money, I'm going to pitch a business, and I say, right, sit in front of this person, and they're like, oh, but I've got another business that I'm going to talk about as well. I'm like, no, don't talk about the other business, because if you're raising money, you raise money for, like Tyron's just said, that business. If they get whiff that you're thinking about something else, they're going to think, well, hang on a minute, you're not solely committed about that one thing. Like, I went into investments. I became the best. I'm covered in tattoos. You got a fair few.
Couple of bad ones.
You're bigger than me, but I got more. Oh yeah, I got more tattoos.
One says only God can judge me. So
hey, I got that one as well.
We all started somewhere. I knew you had that one.
Yeah. But that's the truth. Is that I started off wearing like turtlenecks. Like I used to cover up my neck tattoo. And I used to cover up as many as I could. And then when I realised that actually being myself and offering a really high standard, like I turn things around quick when it comes to large amounts of money, and that oversees my tattoos. And you've probably had the same with your infrastructure, the professionalism, the turnaround. So you have to be. I'm just seconding everything you've said.
It was a prison conviction for me.
Yeah.
That was the.
That
was the little elephant in the room.
Yeah. But that's your story though, isn't it? Like it adds to the whole way you are now.
Do you know what though? Like it was one of those things where I remembered like when I kind of like realised, okay, I'm going to get back into property and start selling, I remembered getting this job with Fine & Country, and I always just remembered I was dreading this day. I was like, they're going to call me about this, they're going to check me out and they're going to find out. So all I thought to myself was, by the time, it'd take them a few months, and I was like, by the time they find out and all the paperwork gets done in head office, like start calling, and I keep ignoring their calls, I'm going to just get so many deals done that by the time they think, oh, we've got to get rid of him, I'll have brought so much money in that they can't sack me. And, I gave it a good go, but it was, but that was always my kind of, but it was my route, but it wasn't like something where it was like a sob story and all of that sort of stuff. They didn't even need to put me through prison. I'd learnt my lesson the day in court. I was just like, I don't need to do the prison sentence. Honestly, it's not going to happen again. That's all it was like. I was like, honestly, this doesn't need to happen.
Don't give it to me.
Trust me, you're not going to hear from me again. Like, honestly, just let me
under
go out
this
door.
name.
No one will hear of this again, I promise. But, it really kind of, it really made you realise that, you've got to place more value on first of all, what you do every day, and also your value in yourself. Because if you think it's okay to, but another thing, if you think it's okay to work a 9-to-5 job and then just think, I'm going to also try and do this little business on the side. I mean, I get loads of stick for this post I put up on TikTok, and it was literally about saying, it was a bit strong, but it was like, if you work a 9-to-5 job, you're basically selling your soul. Okay, it's pretty strong. But what my point is that like, you don't need to pay yourself off with $1 or $2 grand a month if you've got a serious plan of what you're trying to do. If you've got a serious plan of what you're trying to do, then you've got to eat shit for at least 6 months to a year. You've got to eat shit. You've got to literally, I remember when I'd made decisions on my own career, and I've been offered jobs. I got offered a national director position, 100 grand basic salary, OT of 180, and I turned it down to be self-employed with no prospects whatsoever. And I was eating baked beans and a loaf of bread, and I used to divide it up until the thing went off. And that's what I was eating for like months and months, because I just knew that when my time come and it hit, I was ready. And that's what I was preparing myself for. And there's a saying that I've always lived by, and it's that poor people get paid on their time, rich people get paid on their results. If your actions are not working towards the result you're trying to get, then you are wasting your fucking time. And if you're trying to work a full-time job and to build a business, let me tell you something, there's not enough hours in the day. There is not enough hours in the day, and you're going to fail because you haven't made sacrifices. And sacrifices are where the money is. I promise you, sacrifices are where the money is. If you think you can work your 9-to-5 job, go to the pub Friday and Saturday night, because I know we all do, and still go, oh, but my business is going to hit because I'm doing a few hours on social media and I'm pumping out a few little ads and all this stuff, you are fucking, it's not going to happen. I promise you it's not going to happen. You've got to make sacrifices where when everyone else is having a good time, you're at home working on your business. When everyone else is out for dinner, you're eating beans on toast. I'm telling you, you've got to do it. And then, and only then, will you understand that it's the extra hours you put in, it's the extra connections you make, it's the momentum you create. Because I'm telling you now, there's a thing with momentum, and I've become slowly more and more obsessed with it. And the momentum is in your actions from the minute you get up in the morning. So, and I've taken actions with myself, we make jokes, okay, I've put on a bit of muscle and stuff, but like the thing is that these are actions I took on myself because I was getting out of shape. I was getting unhealthy. I was getting a business growing, but I felt unhealthy. And I thought, well, what good's it, me building a nice business and then have a heart attack in 2-3 years? There's no point to that, is there? So these are all standards I hold for myself. You've got to hold high standards for yourself. And that means your health, that means your fitness, that means your work rate, that means your organization. Suddenly when you analyze what you want to, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to build a business, you've got to do everything. And the day that you'll start earning millions of pounds, you'll realize actually when everyone else was out partying, when everyone else was doing all the fun stuff, that's the stuff you sacrifice. So when people say, oh, how did he or she do that? It's because you made the sacrifices then to get the result later on. And I just don't think people understand it enough. I mean, what I'm saying to you now is pretty much the pep talk that I give people who join the business, because I just don't think people understand entrepreneurship. I think people have watched too many social media videos, they've watched too many YouTubes, and they all think they can be a fucking entrepreneur. And unless you're willing to commit on a level that is far greater than what someone in a 9-to-5 will do. And bearing in mind, these people are already committing to 10 hours a day, just so you know. So if they're committing at 10 hours a day for someone to crack the whip behind them, and you're not even committing to your own business more hours than that, then it actually puts you behind someone at a 9-to-5. That's how I view things. But that's just my attitude to it.
I think so many things there, like with health, I'm big into the health. I think when you look at the majority of people who are in like really good shape and in business, I just think statistically they do better. I just think because you're just all round in good shape, mental, physical, I just think that puts you in an advantage. I remember asking you, I think it was just about 3 years ago. Do you remember when I said to you, how are you growing so quick? And you said to me, video, mate.
Yes.
Do you remember a long time ago?
Yeah.
I remember speaking and you said, just get on video. And what I would say, I know that some people who are in my groups and stuff like that, or, you know, people that I talk to, people are really nervous, and we are going to a video day and age, and that's a way to talk about your business, get out there.
Well, funny enough, we were just on the way up here, and Chloe showed me a video. She said, when you go on Instagram, I hope it's all correct now, but if you go on someone's profile on Instagram now, you know how it used to land you on the tile page, which is their pictures? Their landing page on their profile now is the reel page.
Yeah, they went off a sponsored ad and it went straight to its real.
So when you think about that, and Instagram has publicly said it's becoming a video platform. So whether or not you like doing videos or not is absolutely categorically irrelevant to the process. Because funny enough, like with anything, just like when, you know, endurance athletes jump into a bucket of ice water, or whether you have to get a video camera out, or a camera phone out to talk into the camera and tell people what you're doing, or whether you have to do a house tour and tell them about this 5-bed detached house you're selling, nobody gets up and wants to do that. Like, nothing in this world you get by doing things you want to do. If everyone did what they wanted to do, then we'd all just be these massive balls of fat sat in front of the telly watching series after series, gorging on fast food. That's all we'd be doing if we did what we wanted to do. So stop worrying about what you want, because honestly, and I'm not trying to sound like super controversial with this, but honestly, no one actually gives a shit what you want. Like, they don't care. No one cares about you or your feelings, or whether you're hurt by something. No one cares. The only thing that matters is your end result, because that's what you get judged on, your end result. No one wants to hear your story. No one wants to hear, oh yeah, I was gonna do a video, I was gonna launch a business, I was gonna, the minute someone, you can even hear the tone of when I'm talking. When someone starts talking to me, I've switched off, I'm done. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in what you were gonna do. I don't care. Stop talking to me. Security.
Do you know what? Do you know,
good
good example is that you've got, like, LinkedIn. I know, so LinkedIn, in summary, is boring. It's not aesthetically pleasing. There's nothing great about LinkedIn. But what I would say is, if you start pumping out videos, Paul, I know that you've had a lot of traction now through being on video. Me and Paul have had a huge amount of people reach out on LinkedIn recently, just for the sheer amount of videos that we're pumping out on there. But a case study, I literally put out a video, and bearing in mind I'm showing a lot more tattoos now, but LinkedIn, that there is millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of pounds, and you can earn an absolute fortune on. I think you've earned the most money on LinkedIn. I've earned the most money on LinkedIn, not Instagram, not the other ones. But I got approached by a guy who was turning over 17.6 million, saw one of my videos. I think it might have even been a bit of a strange video. It wasn't even like a serious video, you know, a tattoo showing. And he was literally like, I need to spend 100 grand.
On tattoos?
On tattoos. Yeah. Well, I earn commissions, yeah. So I don't know. But the point is, the brilliant thing about LinkedIn is, if you are pumping out videos, James Ramsey's doing a great job. He's in my group, like, just pumping out LinkedIn content all the time. and you get traction. And going on video, like you said, you don't talk about it, just start putting out the videos and start actually getting your message out there. I
think the thing is, you got to, again, it's like there's a massive association with business and personal brand. For example, here's where people get put off by doing videos. I can tell you the easiest way. Some people do pluck up the courage to do it, and then their videos are shit. And the problem is with this is that what happens is they conjure up the courage to do videos, and then they play it so ridiculously safe that you were better off not doing the video in the first place. Unfortunately, that's the reality. So, you know, and it does happen. You know, do you know the ones I hate? I'll tell you the ones I hate, right? When an estate agent, right, these are the best ones. When an estate agent goes to an area, it's like a really boring high street, goes to an area and then starts talking about the restaurants and the pubs in the high street. Fuck off, like that is so boring. No one is going to move to that area because of that video. What people are looking for is personal brand. Personal brand means you have got to be the direct connector between your audience and your product. It's like when you think of like when Virgin Trains and Virgin Atlantic, you thought Richard Branson. When you think of Tesla, you think of Elon Musk. There's personal brands going on all around you because these people are posting on Twitter. These are running multi-million dollar companies. What I'm saying is that you've got to make it engaging. You've got to make it engaging. You've got to make it interesting. I get traction just going on a 30-second rant because people just want to hear what I've got to say, and then then what they do is they reverse engineer the research back to Tyron Ash Real Estate. I think, oh, fucking hell, this mouthy bastard, he runs a real estate company. I want to join him now. You know, that's how it works. That's how it works. It's not rocket science. Your personality, because I think the lady who's doing the social media thing before, she said about you are the most important thing. Yeah, you are. But don't be fucking boring. You've got a personality, like get it out there. I bet when you're down the pub with your mates, I bet you're fucking cracking jokes and everything, aren't you? And then as soon as you're in a video, you wither into a little ball of patheticness. And it's like, you know, you can't be that guy in the pub and then you just fucking embarrassment in front of a camera. Get your personality out there. Let people hear it, because it's not, you know, the currency now. I remember watching an audio book by Gary Vaynerchuk ages ago, and like I'm talking about social media was just hitting, and he said the currency now is attention. The currency is attention. That is absolutely categorically true, and that means that by getting attention, it's like, there's cheap attention, and then there's good attention, there's cheap attention. Good attention takes longer to get. You know, if a girl posts pictures in her underwear, she's going to get 1 million likes. That's just the way the world works. If a really skilled real estate agent posts pictures in their underwear, they might, but I don't know. But like, no ideas, Chloe. If a really skilled real estate agent is getting their brand out there and they're trying to do that, unfortunately that doesn't happen as fast. That happens with a bit more process. And it doesn't mean, when you say process and you've got to do it, don't mean make it boring. What was said earlier was that don't make your house look like, your page look like a Rightmove page full of houses. Or if you do a different business, if you do like, I don't know, rent to rent, you can still make it really fucking boring. There's a reason that people like Samuel Leeds have exploded. And let me tell you something, it's not because of his business. I can tell you that it's not because of his business. It's because the guy, he explodes onto the camera with something a bit controversial and makes people think of blah, blah, blah. And that theory goes with everything. It's like Tate, who's everywhere on TikTok now. That guy is the most controversial man I've ever seen. You know, it is crazy. It makes me look like a substitute teacher. and it's like, and the thing is that, but that is because he gets attention. Then what happens is he talks about toxic masculinity and blah, 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 and bang, 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 and then he upsells you Hustlers University. Yeah. Job done. And it's like, well, then those two things aren't linked. But he's got your attention, so the currency is attention. So what I'm saying is, when you're doing content, what is your personality? Who is it? Like, get that personality out. Be interesting. Don't be boring. And I don't care if people go, oh, you know, everyone's interesting. No, everyone's not interesting. Most people are not interesting. Do you know why? Because they play it safe. They are probably, you know, I can tell you now, imagine like, you ever watch like Gogglebox, right? I'm not saying I watch it a lot, but that show where everyone cracks jokes at home and they look at this guy, look at that guy, look what they're doing, blah, 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 blah. I bet everyone's like that at home. Everyone is. And as soon as they get out in a public place and stick a camera in their face, they wilt. And what I'm saying is you've got to make yourself noticed. You're competing for the first few seconds of attention. Otherwise they scroll, otherwise they go. And that means when you're getting yourself out there on social media, you've got to be brave. You've got to get out there. I think one of our agents jumped into a swimming pool, wouldn't go on about it. Wouldn't stop going on about it for months and months. It wasn't that impressive. But you know, that was his thing. He wanted to do something different. And I'm saying that you've got to put yourself out your comfort zone. Nothing gets achieved in your comfort zone. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
And it's delayed gratification, isn't it? One thing I find that people often say is that, I mean, we've all felt it. I don't know if anyone else has felt it, but you know, like when you're posting and stuff like that, and you're doing all these videos, you're doing all this work, and you think you don't get like a. Oh,
I don't look pretty enough in that photo.
Yeah,
People don't like me, but shut up. Like, do it. Just get it out there. Like, you know, it's
consistent as well, isn't it? Like, you've got to be so consistent with it all the time. And
do you know, the problem is though, that links a lot with. Believe it or not, social media can actually be a direct representation of your attitude to business. I can tell you now, you can actually see the direct links very, very quickly. The people who want paying, I turned up at 9, I finished at 5, hand out, where's my money? Those people, I did a post on social media, I only got 10 likes, it doesn't work. I bet they're the same people, I can promise you now. They are exactly the same people. Do you like social media? No, I hate it, I don't go on it. All right. Do you get paid weekly? Yeah, I thought you did. Okay. You know, they're the same. I promise you they're the same. And then the people who are running a business, they don't care if they only got 10 likes first. They don't care if they're doing a YouTube channel and their business depends on it, but their first video only got 300 likes. They don't care because they're more interested in their 30th video in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, 100%.
Social media is a direct representation of your entrepreneurial mindset. If you do not apply those things to your social media, then how's your business going to, if you give up that easy on social media, you can't even throw yourself out your comfort zone on a device that's sitting in your fucking pocket, then how are you going to run a multi-million-pound business? How? If you can't even run your Instagram account. It's a bit like that saying of if you don't make your bed in the morning. I think it's the modern day version. You can't run your social media accounts, how can you run a business?
That's like the whole motivation thing. Like, I think, is motivation even really a thing, or is it actually just routine and discipline, and whether you like doing it or not, you get it every day? I mean, you saying about people like going out on a Friday night, like I'll often do my Friday cardio. And I thought
you were going to say drink it then.
No, and I can see people like walking along the seafront and like heading into town, and I think I'm in here running, doing my cardio in the evening, but I always kind of remind myself, it's because I know exactly where I want to be in 5-10 years, and it's just having that like clarity and reminding yourself what it's all for.
I think there's a certain power that grows with discipline. You know, discipline is something that it reinforces some internal wiring in our system. I believe that when we give in to easy things, when we give in to, and listen, I had a couple of glasses of champagne tonight. Like I don't, you know, I'm not sitting here saying don't be human. You're not robots, but pick your time when you do it and earn it. So it should be 80% work, 20% play. Like book your holiday, book it in 8 weeks' time. So you know it's coming in 8 weeks, and then you know that's your little finish line you've set yourself. And between then and 8 weeks, if you're not walking, when you've packed your bags, you should feel like you are absolutely like categorically, like you need the holiday. You've worked so hard. Get me on that fucking plane. I need a few days to think. That's how it should feel. You shouldn't have been having a holiday in your living room. Like, you know, that's not how you should be. You should be working your bollocks off to get to where you need to be, and then when the plane's ready to go, you've earned it. That's how it should be. You should be earning everything. Even things like, I've got a thing with breakfast, like eating breakfast in the morning. I won't eat it because I feel like it's lazy. I need to earn my breakfast. I need to go to the gym. I need to do my exercise. I need to train for a couple of hours. I need to get back, and I need to be thinking, God, I feel fucked. Get me my protein shake and my oats and all that sort of stuff. That's how I feel. I need to earn it. I need to feel like that is what everything I do I need to earn, basically. That's how I feel. That's my mentality. That's what I take into everything. Whatever I do, whatever I reward myself with, I earn it. You know, I earn it. That's I think a good recipe for success.
That's exactly the way. I won't go and buy something materialistic unless I feel I can justify that I've put the work in to earn it. As we come to a close, I mean, it's been awesome. What would be? I mean, I'm amazed. We've got some people who have actually travelled here that are late teens, that have travelled like 4 hours in the car. So I mean, there's people that have come from all over, which is amazing. What would be, as we come to a close, what would be your top tip for anyone in here thinking, right, I'm going to go smash the industry or whatever I want to do, or I'm going to do it, I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to start a video. What would be your top tip just to go out and, like we were saying, just doing it?
Sacrifice is the biggest thing you've got to address straight away. Once you've decided what you want to do and you've picked your route, your next move is what are you going to sacrifice to make that work. So it's all very well saying, I want to be a £1 million luxury real estate agent, or I want to, build a property development business. What are the sacrifices you have to make in your life now for that to work? So that might be going out at the weekends. That might be expensive dinners. That might be the fact that you're hanging around with fucking morons and you need to cut them out your life really, really quick. Because I'm telling you now, if you think it's an achievement, and I tell you what, the people you hang around with is the biggest sacrifice you should be looking at, first of all. Because I tell you now, they'll cost you your career. They will cost you your career. And if you are, one of the best sayings I ever heard, just to finish on, was if you hang around with 4 dickheads, you'll become the 5th dickhead. and that is genuinely the best advice I can give you. Cut the shit, concentrate on what you need to do, sacrifice everything that is negative. If that's a relationship, friendships, fast food, not exercising, whatever it might be that's costing you that route, a 9 to 5 job that's 5 days a week, fucking quit it and get a part-time job in Amazon or something like that to get a part-time job at nights, whatever it is, to facilitate that, then you will win. If you're not making sacrifices, you will not be able to get to your end goal. And you've got to look at everything around you. And I promise you, the things that you need to address, they are going to be staring you right in the face. They're going to be so close to you. I'm talking even as close as family. Even as close as family. I'm not saying cut off family, but I am saying if there are family members that are close to you, that are giving you these little bits in your ear, oh, that's a bit risky. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, I don't think that's going to work. I had it from my own dad, and my own dad was relatively successful. So imagine growing up. Here's one of the hardest decisions, here's one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, was I grew up looking up to my dad a lot, and I still do. He's achieved well and invested in property, but he's like a buy-to-let investor. He's built his portfolio, and that's how he believes you should do it. You should incrementally grow your portfolio, and then you have wealth when you're like 50, 60 years old. Cool, no problem. That works for a lot of people, and I've got nothing against that. That doesn't work for my personality very well. I want £1 million and I want it yesterday. That's how it works. So, and I'm like looking at his chart, and I'm like, I can't see my Lamborghini anywhere in this. So like, I don't think I'm going to want a Lamborghini at 60. But what I had to do was reduce my communication with him. It wasn't cut off my dad and be a complete arsehole. It was, don't talk to my dad about everything I'm doing. just talk to him about the right things, about family. You know, he's my dad and I respect him and love him, but he's not my business advisor. My advisor for business was people that have done what I want to do in the industry I want to do. And whether that was digitally and I was getting it through the internet or podcasts or audiobooks or whatever it might have been, they were consuming my brain. I wasn't looking for validation. And lastly, stop looking for validation. Validation is the biggest killer of business and dreams. You know, you look for validation. I've had this idea, what do you think? If it's a good idea, go and do it. You don't need validation of people. Go and do it and put the plan in place. People who have not done what you want to do, you can't get validation of an idea for. You can't. So make the sacrifices, pick your route, stop looking for validation and just execute it as if your life fucking depends on it. Because that's the other thing. People don't go hard enough. You've got to execute like your life depends on it. If you do that, you're going to give yourself, it's probability, isn't it? You just got to give yourself the best chance of succeeding, and who knows, you're going to hit. You know you'll hit.
Mate, awesome. I mean,
cool.
I don't know about you, but I absolutely love that. It's one of the rare ones where I don't really need to say anything. So, thanks so much. That's going to be a good one. That's awesome. Where's it? We'll do that in a minute. So yeah, I mean, thank you so much, mate. I always take a lot from being able to sit here and listen and learn, and it's nice for me because although sometimes I ask the questions, it's nice to not only, you know, a lot of the things you were saying are really aligned with what I do, but also there are huge learning points. I just hope that people really took that on board and actually go and apply it, because there's nothing worse if people leave here and like you've seen it, I've seen it, people that I talk to, you know, you tell them the information that they're asking for and then 6 months later they're still not done what could have been so easy. So
yeah, I think just to sort of finish on as well is that, like, you know, even when we're running, like, you know, open masterclass sessions in the business about how to be better at real estate, how to do better at real estate, it's all a great chat while we're doing it. But if you don't go away and implement it, it's an absolute waste of time. Now, I'm not saying you have to come up with a master plan, but the first point I would say with anything is whatever you're trying to achieve, go into your next day and just organise your day. Now, I know there's some experienced people in here already doing that, but I'm talking about the ones that maybe aren't, the people who are younger, the people who are looking for advice. Organisation is where you're going to find the answers for what you need to do. You need to time block your day. You need to allocate the first few hours of your working day to what you need to do. You need to allocate the result to that time block. And if you do that in sections of your day, which are all geared towards the career or the route that you're trying to do, you'll, over the course of a week, over the course of a month, over the course of a quarter or a year, you will hit. If you've got no organisation and discipline, then you can't hit. It's as simple as that. So yeah, that's definitely
awesome.
what I'll be in.
Thanks so much, dude.
That's just the hatred of your fire. Got chillin', no kind.